on this and let's just like label them and put everything on them because that's how we feel, because that is actually what's happening. And then when we know the truth and the facts and it comes out, it's like that person was never been incarcerated, never had a record, never anything, and do the worst harm to our society, our communities, because believe it or not, the vast majority of us on this side of the fence want safety just as much as you do.
Hey good humans, Zach here, checking in to ask if you're doing your best to protect yourself from online crime. Anyone can find anything on the internet, including your full legal name, your email, your home address, phone number, and
shot,
your
Zach.
relatives.
Don't fucking tell me that.
This information is accessible because of data brokers who profit by selling your information to spammers, telemarketers, and anyone else that wants to learn more about you. That's why I'm excited to tell you about today's sponsor, Aura. Aura provides all-in-one digital safety for your devices to protect you from online threats. They have almost every internet safety tool you'll ever need, including a VPN, password manager, real-time credit and identity theft monitoring, and more, all in one easy-to-use app. Aura does the hard work of keeping you safe online, and if you sign up right now by going to aura.com/jubileemedia, Aura will give you a 2-week free trial so you can start protecting yourself and your information. Be sure to check out the link in the description or scan the QR code to start your free trial today. Thanks so much to Aura for sponsoring this episode. Now,
I'm on it, dude.
Let's get back to the video.
Let's go.
Police violence is blown out of proportion.
I think that really depends on where you're at, whether it's city, town. I think it really depends on the department because you have a lot of departments that you see a lot of that stuff, but then you have like the smaller departments that you don't see none of that. And you have community policing. You know, we go out and we do activities with the kids. We do activities with families. Yes, we still do our job. We still pull people over, but we're not, I guess, what you would call harassing people in some of the ways that the big cities do.
But I mean, you technically are though. Like, I mean, justifying your bad behavior and your violence for you guys doing community work, it just doesn't go hand in hand, you know?
I understand people's sentiment where one incident where it looks extremely bad is wrong, and then it casts an entire umbrella over the entire profession. I may have a different perspective or different perception of what you're looking at than you do because I'm in this profession, but the way that I guess that we look at things now in the media, it's blown completely out of proportion.
So when we see the videos of a police officer handling a child and that cop has become violent towards a child.
And I agree, but my thing is, has it been blown out of proportion? I see that one incident.
We see it a lot.
You do see it a lot, but you have to also take in consideration that there's over 1,800 agencies in the entire United States. So if you look at the big grand scheme of things as it relates to all these agencies, and you do see violence, you do see where it's scrutinized, where it's brutal, but if you take the numbers, it's very, very minimal.
If you look at all the public contacts with all agencies nationwide compared to these bad incidents or the perception of bad incidents, it's a very micro compared to the macro of how many public contacts all the agencies have with the public.
Those are the ones that you do see. I mean, even before social media,
it was brought up earlier about the media blowing it up, and we agree to that.
There was, you know, Rodney King, there was Emmett Till, there was all these
and
people,
you know, and honestly, there's bad officers. And good officers will be the first ones to tell you there are bad officers. There's bad in every workforce that you're in. Everything. If it's bad, it's bad. If it's wrong, it's wrong. You know, we are the first ones to kind of, hey, you know, that's too far.
And I used to work internal affairs, and I personally arrested 2 prior police officers.
I also worked internal affairs, and I can tell you out of 30 plus of these tribunal hearings, a lot have been terminated. So there is some accountability. I think we're heading in the right direction, considering 20-something years ago, you know, you did something bad and, you know, it got swept. Now, social media obviously has magnified it by hundreds and hundreds, which is good.
Well, what social media has done is just allowed everyone to see what's happening in the moment, right? Before, we got it weeks later, months later, years later, so no one knew what was going on. But now we have the ability to film it in the moment and say, hey, look at this, and this is what's being captured. And violence that's perpetrated against people, who, whether they're doing something wrong or not, is so, I mean, it's to the point where it's not even harmful anymore. It's tragic. Why? Because we're all human beings. And there's a culture of violence that perpetuates within the department itself. And I've had good cops reach out to me and said, they're not listening. And if they know I'm saying anything, I'm gone or I'm gonna be hurt.
Police violence is completely blown out of proportion, in a sense that it's completely biased. Why isn't nonviolence or me saving someone's life not blown out of proportion?
Can the disagreeers step forward?
Disagreeers.
I don't believe it's blown out of proportion because I believe it's just barely getting the exposure that it needs.
It is what it is. That's what it is. Each time I've encountered the cops, it's just been like the most negative experience of my life. Like, I'm addicted to the news. And every time I turn on the news, it's another cop killing. Like you said, maybe they don't report what's good out there, but they do report the bad. And I watch it every day of my life. Like, I see how the cops treat people.
If I may ask you, if you did see the good, would that give you a different perception about the police?
What were you gonna say over here?
Almost everything about cop discourse is just like tainted with like bad stats and everything. Like even the idea of like what is a mass shooting? People say there's 500 mass shootings a year in the United States, kind of, but like a mass shooting is like, you know, gang people are shooting each other in Chicago and like 4 people end up getting hit, and that's considered a quote unquote mass shooting. When most people mean mass shooting to mean like a rifle in like a school or like the Vegas shooting or something. And then like the idea of like, do the cops kill a lot of people? Like nobody even knows what those numbers are. Like all this is just very much like a, like cop arguments are literally like, how do I feel about what I've seen on Twitter? And then boom, and that's it.
It's not that I don't see the good, it's that it just doesn't, I haven't seen it happen, I haven't experienced it, I haven't heard nobody in my community like have anything good.
So I've seen the good when I was 16 years old. I'm in my 40s. I actually had a police officer who was my hero. Every contact since in multiple states, multiple divisions, has violated me, stolen from me, taken from me, and stripped me of every value I ever had. The way y'all talk to me, the approach, I'm so respectful. 18,000, that's what you said? Divisions?
No, 1,800.
1,800? How many prisons are there? And how many inmates? And then we're disarmed when we come home. We can't vote, so I can't compete with you on my laws. I can't carry a gun. I can't defend myself. I can't even carry a knife. The exposure is barely there. We need more exposure. I'm from the LA County area, from the islands of Hawaii originally. Every police in between them seas to the East Coast has always spoken with disrespect. They don't pull us over on a speeding ticket like, hi, how's your day? How you doing? Do you got any emergencies going on?
Yeah, they come with their guns.
When's the last time you was arrested?
Who, me?
No, I'm just saying that's the approach when you come to the car window, right? Is on guard.
I don't talk like that. So I hear where you're coming from, but I don't talk like that. So some people do that. You talk for them, but you said us. You just pointed at us and said us.
The department. All departments. All
I don't know which
I don't
department
know
they work for, but I work for a department, and I've never seen these people in my life. I've never seen you in my life. I've never encountered you in my life, but I wouldn't come at you like that.
So you don't cuss at people when you walk up to them?
Oh, absolutely.
When I walk up to them, no. Now, if they're cussing at me, I might cuss back. Absolutely. I'm going to allow you to dictate how you want to allow just this interaction to go.
What if I speak to you with respect and you go back there and you pull my license and it says parole date 2036?
You're still gonna get treated with
Walk up
respect.
to you.
I've never, not one time. So you guys are 4 out of hundreds I've
You
came
can
into
come do
contact
ride-alongs
And that's
with
fine.
me.
But what I'm saying is I'm coming to you,
I
oh, what
will
are you on
show
parole
you,
for? I'm on
yes.
parole for this and that and the
Your
third.
computer doesn't
Now,
tell
if
you
you're an
what, that's
asshole,
my response.
If
Your
you're an
computer
asshole,
doesn't tell you, you gotta do your job.
Yeah, and the dynamics change because everybody's got body-worn video now, or dashboard video, and everything's recorded.
Yeah,
all
but
these
that's the reason
contacts.
you guys have them. That's exactly why you guys have body cams and dash cams. Because even your
transparency.
own departments don't
it's
trust
for
you.
transparency. So if I do something, the public knows why I did something. That's what it's for. I grew up in the era of body cams, so I'm fine with it. I turn it on every single time. I've had people say, hey, this person is rude, this person this and that and the third, and they watch the body cam, did nothing that they said.
Bingo, and I'll
But
jump into that.
technology is policing you. So technology has little air. Human beings are policing us in the community of a community that you don't even know our values. You come from 30 miles away as a difference in the values. So I believe that it does need more exposure beyond the cameras that y'all
Well, I
hold.
think if you're gonna say it needs more exposure, I think the good side also needs more exposure. I think policing in a whole needs more exposure.
I mean, I grew up with that in school, DARE programs and all these false hopes.
But that's not, the DARE
That's your
program has
exposure.
nothing to do with patrol and being out on the streets and working with people and families out on the streets. I see the good in policing, but I also see the bad in policing. So, like I said, if this one side needs more exposure, I think it all needs more exposure.
I grew up in the community. I'm not judging you, but yet you see me with a uniform, you automatically judge me. And I don't think that's fair.
Well, because that comes from her experience. That's what she's trying to say. It's like as soon as the uniform is put on, the badge, it's like, and for most, because I'm in that work, and I see it, and it's like the ego comes in, or that power. And as human beings, we must feel like we're in control. It just seems to be an innate thing within all of us. Oftentimes, people with titles and roles allow the titles and roles to justify what they do. The good is there. The good is there. There's 4 of you right here. You have some conscience. That's what I'm hearing.
Committing a crime is never justified.
Is never justified? Oh, come on.
Does anybody agree with the prompt?
No.
Everything is a crime now.
Can they disagree a step forward?
That prompt, it's a very open-ended question. I shared a part of my story earlier about the person, the officer, who was there to protect, serve, and he committed a crime against me. Was he justified? Because he's a police officer, a detective. I forgave him.
What?
And so that's why I couldn't step forward, because I had to pause for a second. I have to take a neutral stance here because that's not our reality.
I was 14 years old, and
Did I misunderstand that? Wait, what?
deciding to not go to school. And my stepdad came up and yanked a cover out from underneath me, and I hit the ground off of a bunk bed. And I got up cussing him, and he slapped me across my face, and I was the one that was taken to juvenile hall. But damn it, my crime was justified. You know, I think with anybody, with any crime that is committed, there's a reason, there's a background, there's a story.
There you go.
There's circumstances that you have to find out. And us as police officers, that's our job, you know, and we'll take it from there.
So none of you as officers stepped forward and felt like it was unjustifiable the minute that you put your badge on to commit a crime?
No,
Not one of you?
I feel like it's
She just asked
justified.
for an instant.
Right, I feel like some things are justified for basic survival.
I'm just curious, if
deal
out
with,
of 4 of you didn't have that one concept and you took an oath to protect and serve my community, his community, your community, her community, and not one of you stepped forward, I was gonna step forward and challenge it. I hesitated and went back because I wanted to rethink
Wait, what?
it.
Is she mad that...
Not one of you felt like when you put on that badge and that tool belt that there was no justifiable reason to commit a crime because it'd be self-defense, right?
Some things are justified. I can just...
Based. U.S. dollar is actually backed by nothing. The nothing.
All hands, hoist the colors high. Heave ho, thieves and beggars, never shall we die.
Economic system where 2 of the wealthiest Americans own more wealth than the bottom 50% of the country. We have levels of economic inequality that are worse than the Gilded Age. To truly invest in poverty, you have to reverse the impact of the disproportionate distribution of wealth that happened post-slavery. The Homestead Act, which gave the entire West to white Americans, both native and foreign born, that kept black people from getting that land, those homes, and building wealth. Black banks have never been invested in the way that, let's say, the Bank of Italy was invested in, that now has become Bank of America, one of our largest banks. You've had Jim Crow, black laws, KKK, mass incarceration.
Have I watched
You've
The
had
Expanse? No.
globalization where we with the race to the bottom, chasing low-cost labor all over the world, taking industrial jobs out of the black communities. You know what they brought back in? Cops and drugs and the numbers game. You gave us an illegal economy and cops, but never repaired the harm that you have caused, which is why mostly gun trafficking is trafficking in the black and brown communities, and black and brown people are killing each other with it. So when I talk about dealing with the issue of poverty, I'm talking about reparations, repairing the historic harm, investing in schools equitably. Right now, if you live in a wealthy community, you get more money for your school than you live in a poor community. And the poor community is only poor because they were redlined by the United States government via the GI Bill. Come on now.
Now, let me address a couple of your things. The first thing you said is about income inequality. Listen, of course, incomes are not equal because everybody has different levels of talent, ability. People have started in different parts in life. We both acknowledge that.
Yes.
I will never sit here and say
Some
that.
were slave masters, some were slaves.
But Jamal,
Okay.
I'm never going to sit here and say that black people in America started at the same place of other people in America. I'm not going to make that point because we both know that is not true.
Wow. Simply even.
Just said basic survival. I
Food,
deal with
yeah.
transients all the time, right? They go and steal something. My department requires me to do something when somebody steals something. Now,
I have a
do I
quick-
think it's right? No, but he's hungry. It's my job, so I have to do something or I'm going to get fired. Can I pull out my card and pay
I've
for
done
it?
that.
No,
Yep. I've done that.
But I can't. My department doesn't allow me to do that, so I can't do that. I have to do something. They say, hey, I want him to go to jail. He's going to jail based on what that person said. With your situation, if she would have took the knife to the officer, that's justified to me, right? In my eyes.
Yeah.
Now, do we being justified and dealing with the consequences are two different things.
I'm totally accountable. My years in prison made me 100% accountable for me in every action that I do and every thought that I make. So I've served federal and state prison. I have a parole until
Damn,
2036
she's hard.
for narcotics. I've never hurt anybody. Nobody's ever overdosed from my drugs. I just got caught under the Reagan laws. I was raised in there. I've created my deepest friendships that I have in there. I've left women behind in there. The problem is that when I found myself in trouble since I've been home, the last number I would call is anything with a 11, 211, 411, or 911. My loss of faith and belief in the whole entire police community is gone. It ain't no 2% of you in my eyes. There ain't no 1%. Because you might be a hero one day, and then 16 years later, back against the corner, lose everything you stood for. And it happens, we're humans.
Just a prompt. Anything that you've done to get you where you were was never justified.
If you look at justifiable, no, I was greedy. I was taught to hustle.
But why did you start?
Because I was hungry.
You were justified, but you're still gonna get arrested. That's what I'm saying.
No, I don't justify it, I'm accountable. See, there's a difference, you can't.
That's not what I'm saying. I understand where you come from, but I'm still gonna arrest you. I'm still gonna do my job.
Because this is his job.
Yeah, I'm
So
still gonna
what
do it. So
is-
I understand your story, I hear you, but you're still going to jail. That's what I'm saying. Is it justified? I get it. You were hungry, you had to do what you had to do, you had to do what you had to do to survive. I get it. But you're still going to jail.
You're doing a job that the department told you to do.
Right.
You just said that, would you want it to come out your pocket to probably feed the person that was stealing something because they're hungry? Because in your humanity, you know what it's like to be hungry.
Agreed.
But in your job, you know that if you don't do what you're told, and the procedures and stuff, that you're going to get in trouble. You probably lose that job, and that's not something you want to do because you also have to feed your family
Agreed.
and feed yourself, right?
Absolutely.
So I think we can all agree, some of you have good intentions and you go in with that. But it's a department that has a culture of violence. You can't help but to pick up some of those traits. Number one, because you want your job. Number one. So I served 27 years in prison, in a maximum security prison for women. I had a sentence of 25 to life.
Jesus.
For the crimes of kidnapping and murder. That's what I was convicted of. Did I do it? That's a different story. No person that represented a system helped me. Punishment has become the response to every damn thing in this country.
Because it's like we're out in the street living every day to survive. We're out in the street doing our own thing. When you guys as colleagues come after us, like at what point does it justify your colleagues to do all that stuff just because they have that badge? when y'all colleagues are shooting at us, how does that justify you guys' crimes? That's what I understood from her. I understood like when you guys are, that's what I got.
Because I was agreeing with what she's saying. You're out in the streets and you guys come and do all this and that. Well, who's calling? Who's calling us to get to where you're at?
All right, let me give you a perfect example, all right?
Okay.
Let's say I have a broken down car.
Okay.
I have a broken down car, and nobody called you. You just happen to see a broken down car. And I have my emergency lights on too, so I'm declaring that I'm having an emergency situation.
Okay.
You see me out and about, I'm on my phone, I'm in a safe area on this side, on the right side of my vehicle where I'm not in imminent danger. I'm following all my protocols. Let's say I even go as far as putting a road flare or a cone from like a traffic kit. I cover all my T's and A's, I'm literally trying to avoid you because I don't like you. So I'm doing everything I gotta do, but here you go. Woo, 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 woo. Hey, what's up? Do you need help? And I'm like, no, sir, I don't need any help. I've called AAA, they're on their way. I verbally communicated with you that I'm good. I'm in no imminent danger. I've put my cones up. I'm waiting for AAA. I relayed to you, verbally communicated that I'm okay. I'm not bleeding. You're not seeing anything going on with me that would attract you to come after me. But here you are, grabbing at your belt, pulling at your thing. Just seeking for something to go after. Immediately seeking, like you're like a predator, bro. You're literally hawking eye into your target and you're like, I'm gonna get him. Boom, and then here you go. You been drinking today? I'm like, bro, I just told you I don't need your help. Like I'm sitting here waiting for my AAA to come with a flat tire because I got a wheel lock. Okay. Oh, so, but have you been drinking today? Are you on probation or parole? Immediately it's like, dude, I'm in distress. I've advised you I don't need your help.
Right.
Put up all my flares, crossed all my T's, dotted all my I's, but you continue to push the subject.
Yeah.
And then you go as far as like pulling your gun. Why are you getting hostile, sir?
Yeah, I'm not saying it doesn't
Click.
happen. I'm just saying.
Why are you getting hostile, sir? Click. You good?
Yeah, so.
I feel like you're getting hostile, sir. Put your hands where I can see them. Click.
Okay.
There we go.
So, I'm gonna tell you what I always just say in the streets when I work patrol.
Do we agree here?
This is what I was gonna say. I'm gonna tell you what I always say in patrol. And this is what I said in my earlier comment where we get painted with this broad brush. First of all, I would have given you a ride. When you say you, I just want to make sure and be clear that me personally.
That's why I have AAA though. I don't need a ride.
Hold on. Let me finish. Let me finish. What I'm saying is that in my mind, you're speaking about me personally. I would have helped you no matter what.
But I don't need your help. I've advised you, verbally told you.
That's
when you were 10
and you
feet
know
away,
what?
And you kept coming towards me.
I would have took off
When
and
you
went
were
to
like
Starbucks and got a
15 feet
cup. I would have took off, went to Starbucks and got a cup. I understand that. But what I'm saying is that I'm going to tell you what I always used to say when I used to work in the streets. You know what? I can't speak and I can't feel what you feel.
So why did you?
Let me finish.
See what I mean?
Let me finish.
You guys are predators, bro. Exactly. Nobody called me. Who called you?
You're not letting me
so
finish.
Who called you?
You're not letting me
But
finish.
that was my question. That was your question, right? Who called you?
Did I let you speak?
But nobody called you.
Uh-oh.
Can I speak? Can I say something? Because I feel like
he doesn't understand. Can we get a little protocol here, the Q&A, where he talks and then I talk?
Yeah,
Because he's not letting me talk.
Okay, you can respond and then I
Okay.
want to hear from Star and then you
Yeah.
have to go to the next
Can you just please let me finish? Okay.
I mean, I'm answering the valid points validly,
Oh,
You're
the
not letting me-
valid
you know
points
what?
validly.
Disregard.
it's good. We don't
You're not
gotta
letting
agree,
me
but
finish what I'm
I
saying.
gotta say like
What I'm trying
But you gotta have more patience as a police officer.
Well, no, it's-
You just got a quick snap, and I can see it.
You always gotta be right, like,
No,
you-
I'm
you-
just
you don't
used to
always gotta be
argue. When
right.
I argue, I always
think
let the
I think he
person
made a
speak as
valid
much
point,
as you
like,
can.
I think he just
and
wanted
then once.
the crime that was committed, like when I was a kid, I wanted to be a cop. I saw the cops. I grew up in the 90s, so they would give baseball cards, and I thought the cops were the coolest things because I had a real bad childhood, like with my parents, and I didn't really have friends like that. But the cops would be there. But the second I got my lowrider bike, like the cops would pull me over and give me tickets, and I'd be like, why don't you stop them over there? It's like, well, we're stopping you. How are we gonna stop them? And then I would get tickets constantly. I was just a kid. I didn't know what I was doing. I like the lowrider culture, and they would give me tickets all the time. Then my parents would be like, why are you getting tickets? Like, I'm like, I don't know. They just keep stopping me. And then like maybe I'll ditch school, and the cops will like, like sometimes they'll get me from a certain neighborhood and drop me off in like far away from my house, like, or sometimes, and I was a minor, and they'll get me from the streets and take me to the police station, which I found out later was illegal there. And they made me to who I am. And they made me think that I was a bad guy until like I realized almost like 13 years ago, I don't gotta be that bad guy no more. But the cops made me who I was.
And I'll share, like, I've never served any time like that. I was arrested as a 13-year-old, literally I still looked like I was 10. I was smoking weed at the park. and I got immediately apprehended, taken into custody. I got handcuffed behind my back, and then I got placed in a cop car with no divider. It was like a parked cop, you know. So no divider. And then when he started asking me about my name and stuff. So I was like the adolescent, you know, adolescent phases. I didn't want to answer him. I didn't have to.
Why not though?
He's a minor.
Because I'm a minor. You don't have to interrogate me without my parents.
You don't have the right to talk to them.
That's incorrect. You committed a crime.
See? But I mean, you know.
But I don't think you're well.
All right,
I don't think you're well versed.
One second.
1 second. Gotcha.
So without the barrier, and he kept asking me questions, and I just simply didn't want to answer him. I didn't have to at that point, you know. So he got upset that I didn't, you know, volunteer with whatever his demands were, and he just punched me in the chest as a handcuffed 13-year-old kid, knocked the wind out of me, whatever, you know. It went as far as violating my rights. I never even knew that I could have told his commanding officers or even the watch commander once I got to the jail, yo, this guy like sucker punched me in the chest, like he knocked the wind out of me, he abused me, he abused a minor. I didn't know any of that. Now that I'm an adult, because I'm a felon, because of course that, you know, escalated into more things like gay marijuana. And marijuana was hella illegal back then. I'll be damned if you guys mess with me like all over again. And that has happened to me.
I get it.
That's why I got road flares in my car. That's why I keep like a kit. You know?
I get it.
I cross all my T's and dot all my I's, dude.
Criminals who commit violent felonies don't deserve certain legal rights.
You know what? I'm sorry, I can't do this. I can't do this episode no more. It's not making any sense. The questions just don't make sense to me.
Sorry.
I can't really get my point across how I want to. And the questions are kind of like reversed. Like it's like you're asking the question, but you kind of. I can't do it.
I totally understand.
I can't do it.
You can always share whether you agree or disagree.
I can't be on camera doing that.
I totally understand.
I'm trying to get my point across at the police, you know what I mean? But I can't do that.
Yeah.
Like I can't do that, and I can even get my point across. There's no point in me being here.
So
I'm out of here.
Can we take a smoke break then?
Damn. Adios.
Oh, I can? Oh, yes.
I fear the other side. Step forward if you agree.
You know, I think it's part of their job to put fear in us, but it shouldn't. You know, every time just for a traffic ticket or just being stopped on the street, it was always like guns drawn right away. You know, and every time they point their guns at me, especially towards my back when I'm not even looking, like it just gives me this fear, like, and then.
Wait, how do you know they're pointing guns at your back when you're not looking? Wait, what?
Not only that, they like to manhandle you. They like to like grip on your knuckles when you I already know the procedure. I spread my legs and I try to do everything right, and they still try to manhandle you each time. They try to like hold you so you could react and do something. It's like that it's like their job is to incriminate us. And for every traffic ticket, it was always like, I always had my driver license, my insurance, so every time they would come at me, I'll start cursing them out. Like that was me, that was my whole, from ever since I turned 18 till I was like 30, I was just cursing them out every chance I get, and I'll love it. Because they'll give me a ticket each time, and I'll be like, okay, like, I don't care, like, I'm paying for my freedom, and that was the cost of my freedom, but I did fear for my life each time. Every time, like, they manhandle me and talk down to me, all I would think about was my kids. Like, damn, if my kids wanted to see how these people act, because my kids look up to me, but to see the cops, like, act this way and then laugh about it, you know, who are these people? Like, they bring fear to the community. They don't bring any peace or nothing like that. You know, and that's how I grew up. I grew up with so much aggression towards the cops, like so much aggression until I realized, you know what, I'm not who they made me to be.
I have a dangerous job, just like how you have children. I don't know if everybody has children. I want to go home to see my children, so I don't necessarily fear the other side. I just fear what could happen if I let my guard down while I'm doing my job. And that's it. Once you start off aggressive, I kind of have to match that, because in the back of my head, why are you being aggressive? I have to understand, hey, he's being aggressive for some reason. I don't want to die. I don't want you to die. You don't want to die. I would hope that you don't want me to die. And we just meet in the middle right there.
Yeah, actually, back then I would hope a car hits them or something, because
Jesus.
The cops would come out with their guns drawn. It wasn't even no, like, I'll just be spooked, and once they come to me, I'll be like, you mother, like, I'll just go off on them.
In my younger days, like, I never just pointed my gun for no reason, but I was, you know, what the, what, whoa. Now it's like, oh, okay.
I mean, it's just interesting how all you guys stayed back there and didn't come, and I think you guys decided to come and show that you do have fear, but I don't think you guys really fear us, you know, the way we fear you. You keep saying that it's not you, and he's gonna keep saying that it's not him. So who is it? Nobody?
As if it's black and white. Do I fear you? No. I don't even know you to fear you.
I signed up for the fact that one day I'm gonna get shot. And 20 plus years ago, I couldn't agree with you more. I totally understand that brutality and how we treat people. We treat them like, I get that. Fast forward 25 years ago, because of all that treatment that we did, now you have ambushes. You know, you got situations where suspects, you know, people are coming up at cops and just executing them. And you know, so when the prompt says, you know, do I fear the other side? Well, yeah, I mean, the other side is someone who wants to take my life out and doesn't even know me. And I suppose that's a consequence of what happened decades ago where we did treat people like that.
I just had to say this straight. Let's be clear. What we're hearing right now, there's trauma, right? And
Yes.
this is triggering.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? And so what we're going off of our reality, what's happened and what continues to happen, it causes us as human beings to become defensive. It causes us to become protective. It causes us to become things that we're not.
But it
we weren't
shouldn't.
born to, and it shouldn't.
It shouldn't.
Exactly.
Like I should not have to
Exactly.
stay inside my house and become
That-
an
and I heard
introvert.
of it.
And it's like, why can't I enjoy my freedoms? I'm a tax-paying American. I mean, I know I'm a felon and I can't have certain, you know, rights, but when does my fear of you guys impede me from living my life as a free American?
I'm only 30 years old, so I'm dealing with the consequences of what people have done in the past. But it's like, I'm not like that. So it's like, I get the trauma, but it's also like, I'm trying to change it. Allow me to change it.
You know what? I do have to say something like, the cops from the 90s are very different from the new cops, because now they got a whole bunch of different races. Before, it was mostly whites. Yeah, so that's what I had to deal with in the 90s. But now it's a little different, I could say that.
Can the disagreeer step forward?
I agree with this gentleman here about the job as danger factors. Coming across people out in the field and patrol, I didn't fear them because I treated them with the utmost respect. And I treated them the way I would want my family to be treated if they were on the other end being stopped. I've had arrestees after going to the jail and processing them, get them food, whatever. A handful would say, you know what, thank you for treating me with the utmost respect.
I live in anxiety every day. Every time I see a black and white cop car,
I get it.
every time I see red
I
and
get
blue
it.
lights,
I totally
a
get it.
uniform, I hear a little too much keys. I hear I just don't, you know, little noises that come with your guys' uniforms. I sat up here for 15 minutes and was gonna turn around because I did not wanna be in a room with 4 people that wore that badge. And it's come to that much of a broken trust because I am the most friendliest human that you'll meet. I trust everything, even a stranger walking. As soon as I see a uniform, I'm totally guarded and I live in anxiety because of it. Me with my parole, I could show license, registration, insurance with a smile. Oh, why you got a parole till 2036? Step out of your vehicle. Next thing you know, my little tiny belongings are on the side of the curb and it's not even getting put back together. And then I'm late for work. Now I gotta explain to a job that hired a felon why I'm late because someone had a pissy day and they saw that I had a parole date. If you don't know my trauma, I don't expect you to evaluate it. But I don't expect a tough tone either, because it might trigger me and then we both gonna be all types of bitches. You know, like, what?
Totally.
You know?
Totally get you.
So,
What I want to know is how you guys feel about that we're scared of you guys.
I hate it.
I think it's interesting on both sides. Like, it's legitimate to have like trauma relating to cops. That's a totally legitimate thing. But is it not legitimate for cops to have trauma related to like dealing with perpetrators or suspects or, you know, traffic people or whatever? Like, because the trauma theoretically could exist on both ends, you know. But I'm curious why.
Because how do I gauge that? I don't know. I guess I have to continue to ask questions, this and that, third. But I'm like, why the hell? I'm just talking to you. Like, if I saw it, like I said,
Because you can only put an animal in a corner for so long before they fight back. But I think that's what the police wants. I think that they want a war. They want us to fight back. Because I wanted to fight back so long until I realized I wasn't that person, and I had to just go my way, like follow the path that God gave me, and I had to leave that alone. But I did have a uglier path that I was gonna follow. But it's like, you know, the cops. It's like you guys make yourself our enemy.
I don't enjoy conflict.
Well, I'm telling you, we're all scared of you. Everybody I know is scared of the police.
When you interact with me or with any of you guys, I'm going to understand who you are as a person. And it kind of goes back to what he had said about match energy with energy. you know.
But if that was the case, I mean, we don't really fear you. We're not scared. I'm not scared of you one bit. If I had a gun, we could both go at it. We'll do a duel or something like that, and we'll be even. Other than that, I'm not scared of you guys. But it's just the fact that a lot of times we don't have guns, we don't have knives like you guys think. You guys think we're ninjas, that we're just gonna throw a knife or a fork and it's gonna land in your eye, and then you guys, that's not how we live. That's not the reality that we.
That badge gives you guys all the power.
What community are you from? Because I hear twang.
Tennessee.
Okay, so where do you police?
Tennessee.
You police in Tennessee? So do you police in the community you grew up in?
I do.
Okay, so out here in LA, it's pretty different. Okay, our police, like the beat, they might live there for 25, 30 years and live over here now because they've made it out. Or they might actually come from somewhere they wanted to police, but they send them to Long Beach. You know, so a big factor is that badge that you put on, you took a responsibility to know that I don't trust you. We can have commonalities. I probably can't have a commonality with you even if you said that it was your passion, other than if we could get to the way above you, because you're like the bottom of the trickle effect of the system. I need friends way up there.
Yeah.
Once you put on that uniform and that badge, for me, I'm on guard no matter who you are.
You're 100% right. We have a lot of work to do. Shows like this, us coming together and having this dialogue, it's only going to try to get us, you know, not only just to middle ground, but to treat each other as humans.
Ha, middle ground, name
We
drop.
have a lot of work to do. I totally get it.
I agree.
Policing is necessary. Policing is necessary.
Oh, you don't do it cold like
I
that.
agree with y'all.
You're cold, man.
I agree because I was kidnapped, raped, and tortured.
Jesus.
And it was an off-duty LA sheriff officer who was out of jurisdiction playing softball. It was during payphone days. He saw red flags. He was policing. You know, he did his job. He noticed damsel in distress, I guess, and he called local authorities, and the gentleman got a double life sentence due to the horrendous crimes he committed against me. So I do believe that policing is necessary in certain perspectives. However, I'm gonna be biased. I think that y'all don't need a police drug me, no. So I do believe that there is a reason and a purpose for your positions.
I'm sorry that happened to you, and I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm a parent, and I have a daughter, I have a mother, I have a sister, and I would never want anything like that to happen. And what you went through was horrendous, and we have checks and balances in place for that. Moving forward with a lot of transparency, I think there are a lot of changes in regards to issues with that. Like I said, I mentioned earlier, I personally arrested 2 of our own officers working internal affairs for the crimes that they committed. It didn't go over well, but it had to be done. And those are the checks and balances of transparency that these agencies have in place. So
We are not a healed race of humans. We are not in a healthy place. We haven't been in a healthy place probably ever. But we have to get there. It's not working. It causes more harm than it does good. Because even if 100 police officers do good, it takes that one to do something so atrocious, so bad, that it just wipes all the good away. And it shouldn't. And it shouldn't, but it does. Hungry people are gonna steal to eat. And that's the thing. We're not looking at the root causes of stuff. Yes, the 4 of you, what I'm hearing, you sound like really good human beings that have a job, or chose a job to, maybe you wanted to protect and serve and whatever else, and knew that there was bad things that happened, you want to help with that. I understand that, and it's true. But it gets lost and it gets murky when we continue to see the things that happen. Policing is necessary, but it depends on how you police.
I do believe y'all need to be policed as well, though. I believe that you as police officers spend way too much time policing us and not enough time policing each other. And on all the videos, 100% has shown the facts of what partners do. You know, they stand by, they don't police each other. They don't say, hey, stop, bruh, hold up. My homeboys, if I'm acting a fool and they know my felony, they're gonna stop me. They're gonna say, get back over here, Bonnie. Calm yourself, you got too much to lose. All the videos where there's one.
Is the majority of theft in America just household necessities, not food? Yeah, the majority of crimes in the U.S. are not committed as like crimes of necessity.
One gone wild.
Well, depending on what you consider necessity,
Not policing
I guess.
each other.
Right, so to your point,
Senate Bill 2?
Yeah, well, not only that, yeah. So, yeah, they just enacted duty to intercede, or intervene, right? So, yeah, right now, you act a fool and you start acting up, and your partner's there and you just watching, that's not gonna cut it. You're gonna get jammed up and probably get terminated. Me personally, look, in my 25 years, I spent about 12 years in discipline. So I worked in internal affairs and I prosecuted cops. So I'm 100% with you. I don't think any of us here would like to have a bad actor or a liar, or a murderer for that meaning, or a rapist, so that in it itself is just not tolerated whatsoever because we're trying to do what's good. Is police needed? For me, on a personal note, I had a sister who was molested and raped when she was young,
Jesus.
my older sister, and she got heavily into drugs. She's a 27-year veteran of meth, and ended up getting arrested. She
A meth veteran.
ended
I've never
up
heard that term before.
having to go through the system, and I suppose at one point she got a drug diversion. But all those years that she did drugs, it really affected her physically to the point where she ended up getting ovarian cancer. And so 2 years ago, I lost her to terminal cancer. My nephew, her son, the apple didn't fall far from the tree. He also committed a lot of crimes. And you know what? If it wasn't for the police arresting him and going through the system, he probably would be dead right now. Right now, he committed crimes out here in Los Angeles, and he's now over in another state where he committed more crimes. And now, luckily, thank God that he's actually going through the systems at a halfway house, has been sober for, I think, over a year. So the police, for me, not just internally for what I did, but it's super necessary for others.
I mean, we do need policing in a way, but not this type of policing. That's it. It's just, this is not it. We need to find another way. And I don't mean to be funny, but I'm pretty sure you guys, if you haven't seen the movie Judge Dredd, I mean, they get to the point. They don't take nothing personal. They do their job. They get spit on. They get talked back. And the cops just do their job. Well, they're judges, but not cops. But they just do their job. That's it. Nothing personal. It's just business. Because it is a business. Because everything that has to do with the police either has something to do with money or money comes out of it. But that's it. You just
I feel like never mind. Because I feel like you kind of missed the point of that movie. Because didn't it get kind of personal at the end? But I guess you could argue that in their world it wasn't supposed to be. Also, I feel like those cops are pretty fucking crazy. But
just got to take the personal stuff out the equation. I think we'll be all right. And I mean, compassion. It goes hand in hand. But like I said, just do your job, and that's it. You don't gotta go nowhere beyond that.
Judgment time.
50-50.
No,
You
we should abolish this policing and start a new way.
But you're for the police as long as it's a better system, is what you're saying.
No, I'm not for the police. It needs to be something else now. The whole policing, everything that has police in it just needs to get out the way. It needs to be a new way of going about things.
So if you said you had kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have 4. Okay. If my daughter is raped, I need an officer that is willing to be my child's voice and hold the rapist accountable. Okay? I was raped. None of my family believed me. Okay? Nobody. But that one officer that I spoke to, that one cop, believed me and made sure that everything was handled appropriately. And charges actually stuck.
But what's the odds of you getting that one cop? I've lost all hope in 911 and calling cops. I don't care. My community can take care of whatever happens that comes towards my family. And I do believe that y'all need a police in perspectives, but...
Okay, hold on. Is this lady black or Asian? She's from Hawaii. Oh shit. Okay. She looks very interesting. Gotcha.
Not, how would I say? Not, yeah, like the badge and the uniform ain't working no more.
We all agree that we need something better.
Nah, I don't agree at all, not one bit. I literally believe like that we should be able to take care of ourselves, fend for ourselves. You know, I mean, when this country.
So if you have a 3-year-old daughter that gets kidnapped or raped, your same situation.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna go
How
out.
is she gonna defend herself?
John Wick.
I'm gonna become an automatic criminal and probably face charges for taking matters upon my own hands. I'm gonna fall into the cycle.
And if you couldn't find the rapist or the kidnapper?
I mean, to be honest with you, like, I hate to put it this way, but I've been a victim of crimes that I've solved myself before you guys even got involved. And crimes have happened to me that I've delivered, I've handed cases to investigators, and I've done, you know, my thing. I'm not gonna go out and shoot people. I got too much to lose. But I will do my job, and I will do what I gotta do because it's my stuff.
Literally, the Punisher.
My tax dollars are paying for you guys to do absolutely nothing. And when you guys are called, I'm gonna open a beer, I'm gonna chill, I'm gonna hang out, I'm gonna probably order a pizza. The pizza man will get there before you guys do. You're civil servants of us. When at what?
Hey, why didn't you knock on my door? Why didn't you knock?
I live here now, right?
What if I was doing something?
Like what?
Like anything. What if I was having an adult conversation? What if I called in somewhere?
I waited 12 hours. Are you doing something right now?
Well, no, but what I could have been.
No, but are you?
What do you mean by doing something?
You said I need to be more assertive about asking if you're doing something and put myself out there more.
Oh, well, right now I'm just playing my game and I'm watching a Jubilee video. That doesn't mean you have to go to the balcony, though, if you were about to run there. I'm just,
Okay, I'll
yeah.
sit here then.
Okay, if you want to. Would you like some headphones, or?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. Did you, have fun?
I had the walk sparked something that I thought we could have a discussion about.
Yeah? Oh, about what no means, or?
No. Okay. I'm interrupting this.
Interrupting what?
Feminazi bullshit.
Wait, what are you doing?
Opening a Word doc.
What? Okay, well, let's use our words for now. Okay.
Just
Okay.
hit me.
It's okay. All right.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. Did the lasagna spill, or is it?
Okay.
Wait. Okay. Hold on.
So.
Hold on.
you
Wait.
put lasagna.
Okay. Just.
Here.
Okay. It's okay. It's okay. That's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Hold on.
Are you still mad like you were earlier? Should I walk away?
No, I'm fine. Just let me.
There's a way to do this. See? I completely fixed it. It's like when you have a spider trapped and you like put something under.
Yeah. How's my Coke? Did it spill, or is it because there wasn't that much left?
Your Coke is fine.
Okay. Can you back up for a second so I can assess the damage?
There's literally no damage. There's a fork. That's the damage.
Okay. Just.
Was this rug like a family heirloom or something?
It was my great grandmother's, but that's okay.
I get you like a wafer replica for like $30.
Okay. Thank you so much. Hold on. Just let me plug stuff in before you knock anything else over. Is that okay?
Yeah, you just seem too calm. I wanted to like fire you up a little so we can get into this discussion.
Thanks. Okay, well, you did it. I'm super fired up. So
Can I have my
thank you.
headphones?
You can. I'm working on it. Give me 1 second.
Why are you reacting to a Jubilee video that isn't Hassan reacting to a Jubilee video?
Because I don't watch pop politics people. I watch idol react people like me. I'm in a different class, okay? We just sit
What's
here
the
and do
title
that.
of this one?
Cops versus ACAB people or something.
Oh, okay. I thought you were supposed to go on.
On what?
Jubilee.
They were gonna cast me for something, but I guess they either haven't had the episode yet, or they didn't choose me.
You said it was like a male feminist.
Yeah, it might have been. I don't. Yeah. clean this up so nothing else gets knocked over, okay? Is that okay?
You should probably childproof your house if I'm gonna move in.
Okay, just...
You seem angry. Are you angry?
Nope. Let me get some water. Are you okay? Do you need anything?
Can I have water?
Sure thing.
Do you have any like bubbly water?
Fuck no.
Oh, can I have my Coke?
Sure thing.
I won't knock it. Thanks.
How was your beach adventure?
It was nice.
Where'd you go?
South Beach.
Did you, what'd you do?
I frolicked. I sat in the sand. I dug holes.
Yeah. Did you bring a little shovel with you
To what?
to like dig around and make like sandcastles and stuff?
I didn't.
Oh. Did you learn anything about yourself?
Well, like I said, the walk sparked something that I thought could be a discussion.
Okay. What did it spark?
Well, I first want to make sure you're not mad at me for dropping the Coke because you seem tense, and I don't want that to cloud your judgment in this discussion.
I'm not tense at all. Why would you even think that?
You seem very tense, even though literally nothing happened.
Nope, not tense
There's
at
no
all.
spillage.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Do you feel like I messed up the feng shui of your desk? Like, did you like the way the Coke bottle is like precariously positioned here and the dish here?
You know, precarious is like a perspective, and for me it wasn't precarious at all. But if you felt that way, I could respect that, okay?
Okay, so here's my dilemma.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm at the beach.
Yeah.
Sitting prettily.
Okay.
As expected.
Uh-huh.
And I see this man smile at me. This happens multiple times.
Jesus
but usually
Christ.
I keep walking away. But
Okay.
this time I'm sitting digging holes and I don't want to get up.
Mhm.
So I'm hoping, versus the other times I'm walking, so I can
Mhm.
just keep moving and be like, oh, thank you, and keep walking.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
This time, sitting prettily, digging holes with my hands, and this man is approaching me.
Mhm.
And obviously, I'm not interested, right?
Of course.
Because I'm probably gay.
Yeah.
But then I started thinking on the way back. So, like, pretty much he was just like, hi, you look really pretty. And I was like, thanks. And I didn't make eye contact, kept digging my holes.
Mhm.
And then he was like, where are you from? And I was like, I'm from LA.
Holy
and he
shit.
was like, oh, I'm from New York City. We're on like opposite ends.
Mhm.
And I was like, nice. And he was like, what are you doing in Miami? And I just lied. And I said, oh, I'm visiting my boyfriend. And then he was just like, oh, that's pretty far if you live in LA. And I was like, yeah, I'm moving here to be with him. And then he was just like, oh, nice, nice. What?
Nothing. Just go ahead.
What? Do you think I'm talking about you?
No, just keep going.
You're just like, all the red flags are popping up.
It's all good. Keep going. So then what do you say next?
So basically, and then it was just awkward silence. I kept digging my holes. And he was just like, okay, like, have a nice night. And I was like, you too. So then I was thinking how a lot of guys get mad because they don't like when girls lie and say like, I have a boyfriend, instead of just saying no. But the thing is, he didn't ask a question, right? He wasn't like, do you want to get dinner tonight? And then I said, I have a boyfriend. I was putting that in there because obviously that's what killed the conversation, because that's what he was seeking, was like a date or fucking or whatever. But a lot of guys don't like when girls lie and say like, oh, I have a boyfriend. But it's like, what I used to do in college, especially like when I was out and about drinking and stuff with my friends, is I would do this really bitchy thing that my friends never liked because it made the situation really tense, where if a guy started talking to me and being like, oh, how's it going, or made some like quip about my outfit or whatever, I would always say like, I'm not gonna have sex with you. And my friends thought that was super bitchy, but I didn't even mean it in a bitchy way. I meant it more so like, we can let this go on for 10 minutes and then I can either say no once you ask me, or I can insert a lie about having a boyfriend. But it's like, I guess I was just wondering, like, if I were to map it out, like a flow chart in my head, like what would be the proper response if the guy isn't just coming up to me and saying, like, some guys will come up to you and say like, oh, I think you're really pretty, like I want to grab dinner, right? But this guy was coming up first to like start a conversation. But if I'm already uninterested, like what am I supposed to say without lying to them and saying I have a boyfriend? Or I think, do guys just think you're supposed to give them a chance no matter what, even though you're already like 100% not interested? Like, what do you think guys would want for me to do in that scenario?
What would guys want? And we're assuming that you talking to them and having some kind of sexual interest is off the table, because that's what they would want, obviously, right?
Not what that guy in the moment would want, because obviously, yeah, that's what he wants.
Are you asking how would they want to be turned down?
Not even the guy specifically. I just mean at a macro level. I feel like guys are always complaining, saying like...
Well, hold on. You just have to ask me a question. If you don't ask, I don't know, on a macro level, it's not a question. So if you ask me a specific question with a specific subject in mind,
what would be
the guy
want? What would be the way to not upset guys as a whole on a macro level? Because they don't...
It would be to use it would be the boyfriend thing.
I'm pretty sure they don't like that.
Yeah, they do.
Ask your chat. I'm pretty sure they always get mad if girls lie. They're like, why can't girls just tell the truth and say I'm not interested?
No.
Ask them.
It's like when girls say autistic shit like, oh, I'd be with a guy no matter how much money he has. That's bullshit. Money obviously matters a little bit. Girls will lie about it. When guys say shit like, oh, I wish the girl would just tell the truth, the guy is also lying. Even if he knows you're lying, he'd rather you lie. A guy, 10 out of 10 times, he'll go online and he'll say, I wish girls were just honest. But a guy would rather have you tell him point blank, I have a boyfriend, and walk away thinking like, whatever, fuck her. She either has a boyfriend or she's a bitch, rather than you say, listen, I'm actually just not interested. That second statement is infinitely more hurtful than you saying you have a boyfriend, even if it's a fucking lie. But guys will not admit that to you. So it's probably better to just lie.
I just feel like always on social media, I see guys say that they hate that. You don't, so...
Yeah, and girls on social media say autistic shit like, I don't like bad boys, and they all fucking do. So, I mean, like, it's... Everybody lies about what they want. But the reality is it's the easiest way to just let somebody down while them... Because the goal, because you're trying to let somebody down without fucking destroying their self-esteem, right? And everybody's fragile when it comes to like sexual shit. So if you tell him I got a boyfriend, even if he knows you're lying, well, at the very least, then he knows you're a bitch, right? Oh, fuck her. She lies. She's a bitch. I don't care.
Okay. Here's the other thing. You know how we were using that like horizontal flow chart earlier? And you were saying that like two things could lead to things. So I guess what I'm saying is like, if the guy in his head thinks that there's a 50% chance she actually has a boyfriend or a 50% chance she doesn't, then aren't we predisposing him to think that he should keep pushing because maybe she doesn't actually have a boyfriend and she's lying? So isn't that also bad?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it does. But the thing is, the stakes there are pretty low. Because they're
going to keep persisting? I feel like that's annoying.
Yeah, it's annoying. But in the other sense, it's rape. So in the murky boundaries for setting sexual boundaries, the worst case scenario is people's boundaries are being pushed, and these boundaries revolve around like what is a rape or not. In the case of like flirting with women, the boundaries push are like, this guy keeps hitting on me even though I told me he had a boyfriend. It's kind of annoying. It's like I think it's okay. Because the stakes are low. If the stakes were like, if I think you're lying about the boyfriend, I'm gonna instantly fuck you, then I would change my mind and say, no, you should just be honest about it, and then guys should learn to like take no for an answer or whatever.
I guess you make it sound like the guy's just gonna be like keep hitting on you very innocuously, but I feel like it can get like hostile and annoying.
Then it's gonna get hostile and annoying no matter what you say, so that doesn't matter at all.
Well, I guess you could just say, I'm not interested.
Yeah, but you just said the guy would keep hitting on you, no? If a guy thinks he can flirt with you through a boyfriend, he probably thinks he can change your mind if you say you're not interested, right?
Not flirt with you through a boyfriend is more so if they think you're lying, but the thing about the saying I'm not interested is that a lot of people, like you were just saying, that's the mean thing to say. So is it that it's the mean thing to say, or it's the ineffective thing to say?
Wait, what?
is saying I'm not interested. Is it you shouldn't say it because it's mean or because it's ineffective because he'll keep
Oh,
trying?
it's probably effective, but it's probably going to be pretty mean. You can say it if you want. That would probably be the best thing, but it's... You didn't ask me before, though. What's like the most effective way to get a guy to stop chasing me? You asked me, like, I think what would a guy prefer to hear, I think was your question to me.
Okay, so what do you think is the most effective?
Most effective is just, I'm absolutely not interested.
Even though he didn't ask a question? You think girls should just do what I do? As soon as a guy starts talking to you, just be like, I'm not going to fuck you. Even if they didn't ask.
Sure, fuck it, yeah.
That's what you actually think people should do? Because I
If
can
I
get away
started
with it
talking
because
to
I'm
a girl,
cunty. I don't think most girls
Who
can get away
cares?
with
Then
that.
fuck it. Then make girls not be fucking bitches. Or make them be bitches, actually. If I go up to a girl and we're like on the beach and she's whatever and she's like, oh, and I start like chatting her up out of nowhere, in my mind, I'm only chatting her up to flirt. Why the fuck am I talking to a girl on a beach randomly if it's not there to try to pick her up? What the fuck am I going to say? I like your hair? No offense. Not that I don't like your hair. Well, when I said no offense, that made it sound really mean. I didn't mean that. But I'm saying like, I'm not going to go up and like just say random shit.
Do you like my hair?
It's okay. I'm not going to go up and just start saying like random shit to a girl on the beach. I'm there because I'm there to hit on her. So if I start talking to a chick on the beach, and let's say I had a question about like her car in the parking lot, and she's like, hey, I'm not going to fuck you. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I'm just letting you know there's some shit about a car. I'm not going to get like mortally offended. Like I imagine that in her mind, she's thinking I'm coming up to her to fucking try to riz her out because I'm chatting with her on the beach. Why the fuck else would I be talking to her? But
So in my experience, when I'd say like I'm not interested or I'm not gonna fuck you, whatever, it's either like they say, like they either get very pissy, which is fine because it's like whatever, that ends the conversation, or they'll do the roundabout thing of being like, oh, that's fine, I'm not trying to fuck you, because then again, it's like that whole flow chart thing where it's like that can mean she just doesn't want to come off as easy, right? Like I don't think they'll
sure,
hear
that's
that.
fine. But at that point,
So
that's
how do you actually end it?
That's you end it by saying I'm not gonna fuck you, and then you just ignore them. But if they want to like keep talking or whatever, but if they mind fuck themselves into some shit, then fuck them. That's on them. They're fucking retarded at that point.
So what would be the clear thing to say? The way the clear thing in that chart was to say like, no, we're not gonna have sex tonight at all. Very like what would be the equivalent?
The clear
in this
thing is what you
scenario?
just said. I'll draw the. Remember how I said emotional rape is kind of like rape thing? Because it involves like assuming things and ignoring things. Oh yeah, basically, yeah. If you say no to a guy before sex, like no, unambiguously, and the guy keeps pushing for sex, then he's like a fucking rapist. If you say to a guy, I'm not interested, he's like, oh, that's cool, that's all right, I just want to like chat with you, and he's still trying to push for sex, he's like a Riz rapist. I don't know. It's like the same shit. If you're trying to ask me like, what is the magical series of words to make it so that a guy never blah blah blah, there is no answer to that. You can try to punch him in the nose if you want. Or you can tell him, or you can say, hey, my voice is really raspy. I just got out of bottom surgery. Like, do you want to see my new plastio vagina? I don't know. If you want to say some crazy shit. Or you can take out a bottle with like a little tape around it that says AIDS pills and start popping those in the middle of the conversation. But there's not going to be a 100% thing. You know this. Like, there's no. But like, the more honest you are, the only reason women aren't honest is not because it's not effective. It's because it usually makes them feel bad because it makes the guy really feel bad and it puts people in kind of an awkward spot. But
I get that, but I'm saying like I think it's unrealistic for if this guy came up to another girl who isn't me, who isn't as like has much of a like cunty disposition, and he's like, hey, where are you from? Like, oh, you came from a long way. Do you really expect women to just be like, I'm not gonna have sex with you after he says like, oh, LA is pretty far from Miami? Like, do you think that's like a reasonable response?
I mean, you could just say, hey, like, hey, I don't feel like chatting right now. Like, I'd rather be left alone. If you want to say that.
It's just about not want. It's more so like you know their intentions and you know it's building for something. So why lead them on, right?
Yeah, but you probably don't want to chat with them on a friendly basis either, I'd imagine, no?
Yeah.
So then you say, hey, like, I just want to be left alone right now. If I extinguish these soul vessels, am I going to get experience for killing these guys?
I guess it's hard because it just sounds rude. Like, I don't mind being rude, but I feel like it sounds rude.
Why do you think it sounds rude?
He comes up to me
Mhm.
and he's just like, you're looking very pretty. And then
Yep.
at that point, should I go, I don't feel like chatting right now? Or like, at what point do you say, like, I just want to be left alone?
Sure, but what more specifically, why do you think it's rude for you to shoot the other guy down? There's an answer to this, but it's unintuitive.
I think because people do get hostile.
A little bit. Okay. When
Especially if a lot of guys are already brazen enough to kind of cold approach you. I'm not saying there's something wrong with that, but I'm just saying those types of guys, in my experience, are also the types of guys who will get a bit brazen if you're
Okay,
a bit
close.
cunty.
Okay, you're close. There is something wrong with that. The problem is that the guy is already like escalated to like initiate some sort of flirtatious action. So it feels shitty to kind of shoot him down. But the problem is that guys try to approach flirty interactions. The reason why all of this is so confusing, actually, if we go back to the chart, or we could draw a chart for this, the reason why it's so kind of confusing is because a guy is going to approach you in a way where he always has plausible deniability, right? I might see a girl on the beach, and what I want to do is walk up and say like, hey, you've got fucking banging tits. But I'm never going to walk up to a girl and say that. Or I could walk up to a girl and say like, oh, hey, you look like chill. Do you want to just chat? And that's literally all I want. In both circumstances, I'm probably going to walk up and say the exact same thing because I want to be able to, I do want to flirt if I can, but if it comes off, or if she doesn't want me to flirt, I want to be like, oh, yeah, I was just coming up to chat. Like, don't worry about it, right? So that the problem here is actually the ambiguity on the guy's side because he's approaching in a way that always gives him plausible deniability.
Okay. So you think as soon as this person smiled and headed towards me, I should have just been like, I don't feel like talking.
Not as soon as he smiled and headed towards you. You're not like screaming at him from the other end of the beach. But like if he comes up to you to like chat, be like, hey, I don't really feel like chatting right now. Or do the standard like, I'm on my period right now, don't talk to me.
I don't know. I don't know if that's realistic. I mean, I would do it, but I don't know if that's realistic.
It's not realistic. I think guys prey on the ambiguity, and the ambiguity mindfucks the other side. But in this sense, I think it's similar to the girl being ambiguous on the sexual thing, and that it mindfucks the other side. But
Wait.
like, yeah, guys approach with the ambiguity in mind because they know you can't just say, because if you say some shit like, hey, like if I go up to a girl and I'm fully there because I want to get fucked in like 30 minutes, and I'm like, hey, how you doing today? And she's like, I'm okay, but like I've got a boyfriend. I'll be like, you fucking cunt, you stupid bitch. And she'll feel like an asshole. Anybody that I tell is going to see her as an asshole. I might even think she's an asshole. But the reality is, I was there to proposition her. She did shut it down immediately. But because I wasn't completely forward about that response, I can hide behind the duality of my message. Be like, oh, I was just coming up to chat, and then she feels bad for it. So like, I can capitalize on the ambiguity to basically come out the hero always, right?
Yeah. So once when I was in college junior, I went out to this party with my friends, and I was in a bad mood because I was having a fight with my ex. So I was like very drunk and very upset, and I was like crying, and this group of guys came up to us and they were like, oh, why are you so sad, you're so pretty, and we're just like being very gross, and we're just like, we were in the street and just kind of like clamoring around me, and I didn't like it. And he kept like rubbing my shoulders and back, and he's like, stop crying, you're so pretty. And I was like, can you stop touching me? And then I called my other friend, my roommate at the time, and I was just like, what's your address, like text it to me, I want to come. And he was like, oh, we're shutting down and going to a different thing. And I was kind of being bitchy on the phone, and I was like,
hold on, wait. You use like 7 pronouns. Okay. You called your other group of friends, and then he said to him, who's doing what to what? Who you're getting an
nothing
address
relevant
from?
has happened. Like, I haven't
Who's
said
giving an
anything
address to
relevant.
who, and who wants to also the address?
This isn't even relevant to the story.
Okay, okay. So go ahead. You're in a parking lot crying. Somebody was trying to rub your shoulders, and you called some other people over, and then people are going
So
somewhere.
basically, I was with my female friend. There's a group of guys. We're all in the street. We're like sitting on a curb at this point, and the group of guys are still there. I call my roommate, who's a dude, so that's maybe where the pronouns are confusing. I'm calling my roommate because I was supposed to meet up with him at a party because his house, like his friend's house, are like having a party, whatever. So I'm like, what's the address? And then he's just like being confusing, like being chill, but because I'm drunk and already in a bad mood, I'm like yelling
Your friend
at
on
him.
the phone is being confusing?
He's being confusing in the sense where he's like, oh, we might be going to a different house, but because I was just trying to get to this house, I was just like,
Yes,
can you tell me
ma'am.
where the fuck you
Okay.
are, whatever, like, just, he's my friend, whatever.
I think we have 8 minutes left.
At what point did you go from serving us to harassing us? At what point did you go from serving and protecting us to making us inferior to you guys? At what point do we go from the people to, man, we're scared of you guys?
And I hear you. Honestly, I hear you. I hear everything you're saying. And,
I have a better,
and I'm
I honestly
sorry
have
you
a better
went
chance
through.
policing myself than I having call you guys.
Well, I'm
honestly.
sorry you went through what you did, okay? I will apologize for us as a whole, but you can't judge all of us.
It's not just you guys, it's a whole history since you guys started. Like in 1777, when this country was built, there was no police.
I have trouble, especially
Close enough.
Being a black cop, is I have been through what you've gone through, Yet, when I try to be a better person, every time I talk to somebody with trauma like what you're saying, you judge me based off this, but then expect me not to do the reverse to you, and I don't understand where that disconnect is.
Oh, true. You brought up my point.
If I
Destiny
were to
viewer.
treat you like, oh, this is a Mexican on the street, right?
All the time.
I don't know you, so I've never done that. So don't say I've done that, right? But if I were to treat you like that, it would be an issue. Why do you feel okay to do that? Hey, this is a cop. He's going to do the exact same shit that everybody else did it before. That's not fair to do.
It's not, but it's not fair to come after me when I'm just driving my car.
I don't know you.
The Constitution says that I have the right to enjoy my roads that I pay for with my
It
tax
says that you have the
dollars.
right to travel. It doesn't say you
Yeah,
have the
we
right.
travel freely. Travel
Travel
freely,
does not
that's the
mean
key
drive,
word. Travel
right?
freely.
Right, so you can walk wherever you want to go, but you
Yeah.
can't drive. That's under the California Constitution. But that's neither here nor there. But what I'm saying, I would never.
Pay attention, guys. I want you guys to pay attention, right? I want you guys to pay attention because this is a big problem right here. And he claims that he's not a problem and he's in the middle. But let me point it out to you guys right here where the big flaw is. Every time that I've invoked my rights, this individual has chose to go around and still violate my rights. You guys notice that?
Okay.
The same persona, the same, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not.
Can we move on to the last prompt because
Yeah,
it
let's-
feels like
let's
it's
go on
not
to the
going
next
anywhere.
prompt.
Yeah, locking people up doesn't solve anything.
Yeah.
Finally, middle ground. Punishment is the response to everything. By punishment, I mean throwing somebody into a system that does not address anything, any of the issues that the person might have had, the communities have, people with substance issues, mental health issues, poverty issues. Let's be clear, poverty is a crime, right? But people are getting locked up for it because they're trying to manage and eat and survive and just do, you know. And so we're not addressing anything that causes these ills. Okay, let's lock them up and throw away the key. That's the mindset, at least that's how we feel because we lived it and we continue to live it.
Yeah, I think we've gotten
right?
better.
And I feel like that's where now we're getting this middle ground and this understanding that it is not the way to do things. It is not the solution.
Right. I feel like we're getting the blame for it when it's a system as a whole. You know, we don't have anything to do with what happens.
But you're part of it.
And well,
Yes.
we are part of it. Absolutely.
You're the root of it.
We absolutely agree on that.
You see, that's the thing that you guys say, oh, we're not responsible, but then you say that, oh, we're not like this, but I mean,
Oh, no,
it's
we're
like,
responsible.
No one's taking accountability. That's one thing. I mean, you guys say sorry, you're apologizing for them, but where are they? Like, you know, it's like we never see them.
You're the stage before intake. So you're the level before I go in. So when I'm put in handcuffs and going in, my last real human contact is with the person who put the handcuffs on me, and not once has anyone ever just had a compassionate hey, I hope to see you make it out of here healthy, or hey, you know what, I'm
Recidivism has been 70% for God knows how long.
Like 80 something.
I'd say probably 80 now. In certain zip codes, in certain locations, it's probably even the 90 or 95%. So from a societal, point of view, absolutely. I think that, locking people up is not the key. As a matter of fact, all the prisons that they made in the state of California has been overpopulated for decades.
There's money in recidivism, there's not money in reformation, and that's the problem, is that you are trapped in a system, and so am I, where it's all about a dollar amount on me, and that's just what it is.
Like, when I got locked up, I went in for a week. And when I got out, in 2 weeks, I came out, knowing how to steal a car. I made more connections with more criminals. I learned how to make a shank. I learned how to hide stuff. I became more criminal going to prison, going to jail. All these, you just are surrounded by other people that are doing even crazier stuff than just having weed. So it's I came out worse. And each time I will go, I will learn something even worse. So it's it just makes you even worse.
Imagine having a family for 13, 27 years, right? And then you come home and you're told you can't associate with them. Those are my friends. And they're home, I'm home. We've relied on each other. Violation, 10-day sit down. Oh, what's your name? It's all about the dollar amount. All my support is stripped because they're felons. What support do I have? Not y'all, not the felons. I'm in the middle line too. Who supports me? My job.
We need some help on both sides at all levels Going back what you said about financials, yeah, it is. It's at the legislative branch that where they need to make these changes, and it's going to trickle down where it affects all of us on both sides.
And we have not really brought the elephant to light in this room right now. This system
White
is
supremacy?
not ours, right? It was created before any of us here. Was designed to continue a form of slavery.
God, I'm so good. I just know everything.
Period. The vast majority of the 2.3 million people in American prisons and jails are black and brown people. Period.
It's broken, and I don't see our generations being able to fix it.
Take
I don't see the next generation, but I will tell you, I will do my part as an individual to uphold and treat everybody with respect, as I'm sure all three of these guys can say as well.
You disagree? Like I said, I think that everything to do with criminal justice I think is stupid. I disagree with every single take. I don't think that it's like there's a lot of money in criminal justice. I don't think that it's because it's to further slavery. And I think that the problem is just that like getting people to not commit crime is really hard because people commit crime for like a whole bunch of different reasons. And all of those underlying reasons represent really complex intersections of like social factors, familial factors, educational factors, economic factors. There's like a whole bunch of things that make somebody like a criminal. Nobody wants to sell crack, right? Nobody wants to deal meth. Nobody wants to be a gangbanger. But like if you grow up in an impoverished neighborhood, you come from a single parent household, if your school's fucking basketball courts are flooded every time it rains, like all of these things play into making people into criminals. And so like when you're looking at the criminal justice system, it's probably the last thing in the world that you would want to use to solve criminality. But so that's kind of like, but then everybody's always got these, oh, it's there to further slavery. It's there to further slavery. No, it's not there to fucking further slavery. It's white supremacy. No, it's not there for white supremacy, okay? How would you unfuck the minds of the people who believe that it's all white supremacy? I don't think you can. This conversation is like fucking poisoned with fucking AIDS on like every side, I think.
You know, I didn't know y'all from Adam. I don't know them from Adam. But here we are. We're having conversations. We're having debates. And I will still treat you guys all.
Rehab all the way. I think the problem is that like, and it took me a long time to learn this too. I'm speaking from like emails now. I'm not speaking from anecdotes. So take anything I say with a grain of salt. When you think of like rehab, right? You think of like a person goes to like a pretty okay area. They've got a social worker that's kind of like helping them, calling them, checking in on them. Maybe they go out for coffee. They're like doing all these things step by step to like clean their life up. Like this is kind of like our envisionment of rehab. But in reality, it's a social worker that has like a caseload that's way too fucking high, that might not have time to check on everybody, that despite them wanting to try the best they can, I've already written some people off because like this motherfucker's fucked. The people that are in rehab are coming from broken homes. They're going back to broken homes. They live in shitty areas. It's hard for them to find work. It's hard for them to like get back into normal life. A lot of them have aged out of things like school. And like, it's a whole bunch of like fuck shit after fuck shit after fuck shit. And like the problem is like sometimes we try to solve problems. It's like trying to solve like major medical problems at the coroner's office. Like the person's already fucked. Like I said, like criminal justice isn't like the issues with crime can't be solved by the criminal justice system. That like because when we're trying to solve issues relating to crime, what we're really trying to do is make it so people aren't committing crime. But by the time you've already committed the crime, like the criminal justice system isn't there to prevent that or fix that. So yeah, I don't know. It's just I'm not gonna. Oh man, I want to watch it, but if it's gonna feel like fuck. Is there any point in reforming prisons? Yeah, I think we could do prisons better. But again, I think there's a lot of factors that lead people to committing crimes that... Like, I feel like Jordan Peterson actually said it somewhat accurately. For you take a violent person, you're basically sticking... The way that you rehabilitate them is you stick them in prison long enough for the aggressive years of their life to fall off. So you take a person who's a murderer or a killer at 25, 20, 15, you put them in jail for 20 or 25 years. They come out when they're 40, 45. They're older, testosterone's lower, their aggression's lower. They've aged out of crime, and that's it. And that seems to be like our current solution, which sucks. It's not good, but... This video. Do you know what Brittany Simon is?
You burned a bridge.
Yeah. She apparently does an hour-long interview with Sneeko, and I see he's got his big booby girlfriend here. One of his harem members.
Let's watch it.
It's weird to watch it now because I kind of had my public falling out with Brittany, and I don't know if she thinks I'm gonna watch it to just like shit talk her or something. Oh fuck.
Well, now you've had this prefacing, so
It doesn't matter. It's still gonna be. Because now it looks, because all of the, especially he's fucking losing my chat, and everybody's starting to think that I'm like retaliatory.
Thank you very much
So
for
what if they
all of
think
your
I'm like,
support. Our campaign
look at how
has
weird
raised
this guy
almost
looks.
$15 million since
I mean, you'll probably
the
be
George
talking about
Soros
Sneeko
Hello,
more
everyone.
than
Welcome
her
back to today's
anyway.
Yeah, I know, but what if she perceives me as like attacking Sneeko because I'm mad at her?